Converging Channels, Unscripted Conversations. Our third round of conversations, Gail, Marks, Teevan, and I have enjoyed and are happy to share with you. Hello, Gail. Good morning.
Good morning, Dorothea. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, and for me, it's a treat to look forward to our Wednesday chats and to see what wants to come forth.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I sit and I think, oh, well, what should we? Then it just is.
Yeah.
And I love that about it.
No should here.
Yes.
Makes it light.
I think you're frozen. Are you frozen? I'm not frozen. I'm just a little cold. There you go. You were frozen for a minute.
That's okay. We're back.
Oh, yes.
You can hear me okay?
Good. Yes, I can.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good. So a topic for today was offered to me as I was cooking last night. And I sliced into my thumb, not awfully, but enough to leave a mark. And this morning I noticed, it was tender last night and kept me from doing things I didn't have to do. So thank you, thumb, for that. And the other piece was, this morning I noticed how quickly it had healed over. And so the gratitude for our body's wisdom of healing.
Yeah.
And there's the physical healing, and there's mental healing, and there's emotional healing. And our system's smarts to know just what we need. And you mentioned about snowshoeing and your body telling you, okay, enough wading through heavy snow, let's turn back. The beauty of there's always a message ready for us in our highest and best interest. The trick is to be present enough with self to pick up on that message while it's gentle before it has to increase in volume to a point where it's not so gentle in our perception anymore.
It's true. It's true that we heed our wisdom above our understanding.
Yes.
I think that's...
Yeah, which also makes me realize is the slicing into my thumb was a prime example of not being present in the moment and just, mistaking my finger for the carrot I was working on. So it's... this piece of presence that we have touched on before, and the piece of our system's wisdom to heal, I think I'd love to explore today in our conversation, if you're up for that.
I am, yes. As I understand a cut, let me use my toe, for example, not this specific cut, but I think that it'll translate to what we want to accomplish here. When I played basketball in different times in my life, I've broken my baby toe.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I broke it, my God, I thought life was ended. I'd never be able to walk again.
Wow.
I went to the hospital and they said, oh, there's nothing we can do. And then they tried to move it back into place, and it was excruciating. And I was on crutches for 2 or 3 weeks. Baby toe break. And recently, a couple of months ago, I caught my toe again on a chair where I was not paying attention. I was rushing. I had too many things in the air. And I knew that I had broken it. And you could see that it was broken. And I sat down and I just waited for it. I wasn't, the fear was not there. So I knew the progression of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I watched it, and it started to swell, and it started to turn a different color. And of course there was pain, but I was aware of the pain and why the pain was there.
Yeah.
But I didn't let it overcome me. I didn't let it become bigger than it could have, bigger than it was or bigger than it wanted to be.
Yes.
And it was just a true understanding of the human body's repair that kept me calm. It kept me watching it for the progression of the healing part. It was just a cool experience, and it took probably a month and a half to it doesn't hurt now. I can put pressure on it again, and in my shoe it doesn't hurt me. But it was a cool feeling that, all right, it's broken.
Yeah.
The fear just never came for me.
That's amazing.
And it really was amazing. So in cutting yourself, if you watch for the white blood cells are going to come, they're going to start patching it up. And so I understand because I have bad cuts in my thumbs.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you can
see
that.
it, yes. Mm-hmm.
I have them on both thumbs and a couple of fingers. So when you take that sensitivity out, because now you lose a little bit of sensitivity of it and the pain in there. But if you can just watch the healing process, it's quite remarkable of what our body is capable of. And with that, your mind, it takes your mind to watch the process, to experience it in a different light than, oh my God, look at it, it's cut and I'm bleeding.
Finish your thought, and I have a remark on that.
Go ahead, please.
You are so crystallizing out something I had not seen as clearly before, that we can use our full brain bandwidth to make this pain excruciating and dialing up the volume doing so.
And we're good at that.
We're good at that, and I've been there plenty of times. Or we can make a choice to kind of step back and become the observer, and then choose a gentler approach, an approach experiencing this from a point of view of curiosity, of witnessing the wonder of life and its power. And you said not to let the pain overtake, not to let that message, which pain for me is, become the end all, but to become almost a knock on the door, and then you choose to open the door and a whole different experience is awaiting.
Right.
I used to get really uncomfortable migraines, and I remember not responding well to pharmaceuticals to treat that, and experimented with just being with that, feeling it coming on, and then almost having a conversation with this pain and asking it what it was trying to tell me and how it wanted to be treated, so it didn't have to come on full force. And it was an emotional and mental stepping back from, it's almost like you become the audience in a play rather than the main character.
Oh,
and
wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it shifted
that's
everything
an amazing
for me.
Visual.
Audience / director of the play, which is the next step up. And through that, to notice how the tension, the congestion in my system eased and the pain subsided. Was there still some lingering echoing, and was it still a process to kind of flush this out? Yes, absolutely. But it gave me a new opportunity to get to know myself, to understand the message behind the pain, what had brought it on, and how it wanted to be treated as a messenger so I could move through it. And your comment about the fear component in pain is so profound. I remember distinctively being feeling as a total mercy of pain, and being almost like going under in water, and just being submerged within pain, and it taking me on a ride, which most of us who have experienced pain is not fun. No. And the big shift to becoming the willing participant to move beyond that fear, to know there's another choice. And once you've experienced it, like you said with the little toe, once you've experienced it and have gone through the motions once, the fear factor is not as big in volume, I guess. And you already know, okay, this is what I can expect. Let me just work with it rather than it taking over my life.
Yeah. You in the conversation that you're having with your body and your mind, your intellect, your parasympathetic system stays calm, and it makes you calm, and it makes your body respond in a calmer way. So rather than fight or flight,
right,
in an understanding of the two connection of mind and body.
And you mentioned that in our last talk, how you had a person from massage.
You're frozen again. I'm so sorry.
That's quite all right. It happens. Am I back?
Modern technology is keeping us.
Our sound is still going. I think it's just the image.
You were frozen. I'm sorry.
Okay. Can you hear me again?
You were frozen. Say it again.
Can you hear me now? Not yet?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Good. We're back. So frozen. I find this so interesting when technology gives us these little winks. What I wanted to inquire about is to the topic of freezing in pain, freezing in fear. You had mentioned a client who came in with a shoulder issue, and you noticed, there was more to that as you were working with the client's entire system. And I'm curious to hear more of your experience, how we freeze in pain and fear, and how that amplifies the initial issue and expands it into potentially more issues.
Sure. It's my experience with muscle that pain in our body generally tightens us up. If we have pain in your shoulder, your neck is tight, your shoulder comes up, so now your shoulder's not moving quite as well, down your arm is tighter, everything down your back is tighter. So it truly is a frozenness, a tightness, a tension, not a tension, tension.
Yes.
In our body that we need to bring our attention to.
I love these word plays. Language is so informative. Good for you.
It really is.
Good for you. Perfectly done.
So I'm clever this morning.
You are. Not just this morning, by the way.
I've experienced a number of, we can speak just to the shoulder, of frozen shoulders.
Yeah.
And that is, there are 4 muscles in your shoulder joint that hold your arm into your shoulder girdle. And if you have an injury, a tear, or strain, they literally freeze. The muscle sticks to the bone, and you have no range of motion. You have no movement in that arm. And when it starts a little bit, we sometimes don't notice it.
Yeah.
So now, when instead of doing this, lifting your arm up and your shoulder is free to move, you lift your shoulder girdle up first, and then your arm comes up. So you're using different muscles. So the 4 muscles that are doing this action typically of lifting your arm, your shoulder muscles and your neck muscles are now starting it.
So two words come to mind here. A, protection, as kind of the first defense. And then second is compensating compensating with other muscle groups. So I just wanted to keep track of those two key words, as in how do we react to trauma, and we'll get back to that. But keep going. This is you're really unfolding this for us. What happens when we are experience such a pain?
Yeah. What were the two words? Compensation.
Protection.
That's this. Protection. Yes.
And then compensation.
Right. So the protection part is it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So when you move it more, it hurts. So your body's going to stop it from that movement.
Right.
And it's a progression. It's not, you tear your muscle, depends on where the tear is.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will gradually say, okay, I can't go that far. I'm just going to go this far.
Yes.
And then that hurts. So then it becomes a process that you get frozen in. And often the treatment is to put you under anesthesia and rip the muscles off.
Wow.
So that the doctor forces your movement in your arm.
Wow.
And then you start to heal that part. But there are things that you can catch if you're aware of your body, of the steps of that progression of freezing and losing your mobility.
Yeah, so the third word that came to mind was restriction. So protection, compensation, restriction. And as I'm listening to you describing the physical process of such an issue, how well it applies to our mental as well as emotional processes. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, when your body is hurt and it's protecting you, your mind says, oh my God, I can't move it. So, of course, your body's going to say, no, you're not going to move this. You told me it hurts.
Yes.
So that's the cycle of you believe it, and now you're going to get more evidence for it.
And I know in your work, you're very aware of how our self-talk either helps or moves us further down that road. How many times I've said, oh, I can't lift my arm, or I can't, da-da-da, or from now on I apparently have da-da-da-da-da. So we're cementing a certain condition into reality in a way that it becomes our reality.
You're setting the intention. I mean, we do it all the time, whether we do it intentionally or not.
Yeah.
We're setting the intention for whatever we're seeing, whether it serves us or it doesn't serve us. Yeah. So the intention is there, and our mind and our bodies watch for the evidence.
Exactly.
And my true belief is my body and your body, our bodies, never want to disappoint us. They will give us what we are looking for, whether we are giving it something positive or something negative or something harmful or something that's going to be valuable to us. Yeah. So there's always, and that's where the language comes in. It's always going to pay attention to what we say.
Yes. Yeah. So our well-listening bodies, which kind of loops back to the beginning of our conversation of, it might sound odd to some people, but I'd like to put out there to make pain our friend rather than our enemy. That's a stretch. Absolutely. And I've been in plenty of situations in my life where I would have not had any bit of that understanding. But when we change our approach to pain as a messenger, as a gift of the wisdom of our system telling us, wait a minute, pay attention to this. This is valuable information that we're giving you here for you to make an informed choice of what you want to do next. Then we are in alignment with our system and are utilizing it in a way it was meant to be, right?
Right, yes, yeah. You're allowing it to be what it does, to be who it is.
Yeah.
And it's taking the thought out of it and allowing it to just do its job.
Yes. Yes.
Without influence of our consciousness, of suggesting this is painful. don't do it.
Yeah, and consciousness slash, I would almost replace the word with conditioning. So my background in this last 10 years has been in the grieving and end of life arena. And grieving is an emotional pain process and healing process with plenty messengers, because in grieving and letting go of something familiar, and it doesn't just pertain to the death of a loved one, it can be any kind of grief. The last 2 years of our lives globally have shown us a whole new angle of grieving losses, we're inflicting a lot of levels of pain, some which I think many of us are not necessarily aware of. The simple gesture of a hug not being possible, the gathering with family and friends for special events not possible, is its own level of pain. And the invitation that I see through these processes is to not see the pain and the discomfort as the enemy, but as a messenger of something that wants attention. To recognize as human beings the connection with loved ones is essential. It's not a treat once in a while that we splurge on. It's an essential part of our humanness to feel connected, to feel at home with others, to feel at home within ourselves, in our solitude, which plenty have experienced, amplified in these last 2 years. This being with self in our own pain of loss, and then translating this loss into a release of something that might have been time to let go, so we can invite a new version, a better version of beingness. So I don't know how that applies in your world, but that has been a lot of my reflecting when it comes to pain.
There's a number of emotions that I've been feeling.
Yeah.
But before I say that, there's a thing. Skin hunger is a real thing. It's you need that comfort. You need that stimulation. You need that calmness to come.
Yes.
The endorphins to be released of touch.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important piece for humans and for animals. I mean, look what can a dog that is tied out and has never contacted with the humans or have affection from a human, he turns mean. He turns to a protective fight or flight in constant stress. And it's stress, it's attention, it's a survival mode. But if you were just to put your arm around him, he would just be such a gift of receiving and giving that is such a gift for us and a value to both of us. So COVID has put me into many emotional states of pain and loss. Every day, there's a part of my livelihood that is taken away from me. Even still, as I try to build my practice back up and people aren't coming, people aren't willing to be in that close connection with me, and that I haven't been in their circle for 2 years. So every day I realize that it's a opportunity, but I don't always remember that it's an opportunity for me to reach out to be something different, to look deeper into who I want to be. Because who I was isn't available any longer. on that level. So loss is every day you try to maneuver it and manage to keep your mind so that your body can stay healthy and that you can keep a different view.
Yes.
I always talk about, changing your posture, changing your position. So when I remember that, when I am in the mindfulness of my emotions, I remember that, and it's a gift for me to be stronger, to give in a different way,
right?
To be open, and so being open and trying to understand it in a different level.
It brings to mind a story I read about a combat soldier who lost a leg and had to learn to balance his body completely differently, to a point where he can stand on one leg and be perfectly balanced, which most of us would, be challenged with. So it brings back the protection, compensation piece that we talked about a few minutes ago, of how and applying it now to COVID, how many times I've heard people say, I just wish things would go back to normal. And how I think we're faced with a new normal, a new balancing of our system, because that limb that we counted on from before is no longer there. And we can mourn the loss of that limb, and we can stay in that position, or we can take the challenge of a new normal and making it our new, potentially better working normal. And I think that's exactly what we explored here in our conversation about moving beyond fear, beyond pain, and not getting stuck in that quicksand. Yeah. Any closing thoughts to our conversation today? I know we could keep going.
I know. I guess what just came up for me is intention.
Yeah.
Be mindful of the intention, where you want to be, where you want to go.
And I'd like to add to that the intention to explore trusting one's own knowing. Trusting one's own inner wisdom, of our body, of our mind, of our emotional body, that there's incredible wisdom there to actually help us navigate through everyday challenges. And the messenger is whispering into our ear if we allow ourselves to listen with that intention of being present with self.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love your depth of where you take a feeling. I admire that in you.
And thank you for being there and allowing us to go on this journey together, and allowing us to record this and share this, and allow it to contribute to other people's journey as they choose to allow so.
Yes.
So thank you, Gail, for another wonderful session.
Thank you. It's my honor.
Continued. It is my honor to talk to you soon.